Hello and welcome to the Glesga podcast. Remember and subscribe where you're listening from. Coming up this week.
First of all, he said, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, he shouldn't have started it. As if he started the war in Ukraine. No, the war in Ukraine started because the Russians invaded it, right? Who the fuck in their right mind, right, is going to have an election when you're getting the shit bombed out you? Oh, going to stop firing missiles as we're trying to fucking canvass, right? Going round the doors, excuse me mate, yes, he was lying on the ground there, I'll just come in the house. Aye, well fucking, this isn't a house, it's just a pile of rubble.
With Trump, he doesn't take anybody's advice.
He's clearly got the skincare consultants who fucking clearly doesn't listen to. He's got hairdressers who he clearly doesn't listen to. He just does his own thing.
But before then, we're talking about everything President Zelenskyy in Ukraine.
It makes perfect sense. Two bams sitting on a podcast in Glesga talking about something they know absolutely fuck all about. But as you know, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, he's a world-class comedian.
Yes.
Right, he was a TV comedian in Ukraine, but he's got no chance against Trump and Musk because they are world-class clowns. He's been ganged up on. I mean, you get wee Zelenskyy and then you've got Laurel Hardy. Basically trying to carve up the world.
He's an open spot.
Aye, by the way, he's well down the pecking order now. Well down the pecking order. But it looks like Ukraine is going to get carved up. I mean, even though it looks like Drumchapel on a bad night, that looks like they're going to carve Ukraine up. And I feel for the people of Ukraine. I mean, terrible situation.
Well, it seems to be, it's this whole talking behind the back thing, isn't it? Where Russia and America are basically deciding the fate. Imagine being
talking behind your back. I mean, we Zelensky's ears must be burning.
Imagine living in a country where another country determines the direction that you take in. It must be terrible, eh?
I know, it's just kind of like living in Scotland, isn't it? It's kind of like living in Scotland, which is a country within a country, and the decisions are made out with the country. Now, I don't want to be controversial here, but I suppose it's the same thing. But I mean, they're not going to bomb Scotland, eh? I mean, some of the places I've lived, they'll probably improve it.
Trump couldn't care less about Ukraine because it's not really a calling card for him or a playing card, is it?
Well, actually, that's no strictly correct. Because I have it in very good authority that there's substantial mineral deposits and natural resources in the eastern part of Ukraine, which is the Donbass region, which is Luhansk, and that area that the Russians are holding at the minute, that they're occupying. America sees China as the big threat to its power in the world. And by doing a deal, because that's what Trump said, he says, we're going to bring peace to Ukraine and then we're going to do deals, economic deals with the Russians. There's going to be opportunities for economic advancement and all that. He said that. I'm paraphrasing, but he said something like that. And that's what he means. There's massive mineral deposits in Ukraine which America can exploit, and it means you don't need to buy stuff off the Chinese. It's out there, it's all hidden in plain sight. If you want to Google it, people, feel free.
Well, the thing with America is they're partnering with China now because he's already starting to say that he gets on well with the Chinese president and things are great.
Xi Jinping, I mean, he does. I mean, Xi Jinping was educated in America. He went to school, went to college in America. So he's very kind of, he's got knowledge of the Western world. He's got a very sort of westernised kind of outlook. So Trump's a deal maker, it seems, and he thinks. And what seems to be happening, it looks like they're not just carving up Ukraine. It looks like the big powers are carving up the world. They're only interested in their own backyard. That's like Trump's got the Gulf of America now. It used to be the Gulf of Mexico. Everybody else knows it's the Gulf of Mexico, but don't say it to Trump, he'll get a bit upset. And then he's looking at Panama, he wants Greenland, so he wants that bit. And I think he's happy to let the Chinese, maybe is China going to go and try and take Taiwan? Who knows? Is Russia going to take more in Eastern Europe? Who knows? But geopolitically, what's happened through history, Russia has only ever been invaded across the North European plain, which stretches from the Baltic Sea right down towards the Adriatic Sea to the Carpathian Mountains. 300-mile stretch of land. Napoleon invaded them, and the Germans during the Second World War, they got invaded. So what Putin's looking for, or what the Russians are looking for, is to have a buffer between them and Western Europe, because that's where they've been invaded in the past. It's called geopolitics.
Aye, doesn't it mean though?
The geography of a region influencing your political thinking. So when you hear the word geopolitics, that's what it means. It's got geography determines how you think politically. So if your next door neighbour, if you're shagging and it's dead loud, right, and your next door neighbour batters the wall in the middle of the night, that is a geosexual political intervention. And so you just go, turn up your fucking telly and carry on shagging, that sort of thing. But your neighbour might not have a telly.
What do you say? Your wife will be back soon.
Who knows?
Which is ironic, because it's normally a Ukrainian that you're shagging in your house.
Is it? Oh, by the way, if I could get one of the lovely Ukrainian women, that would be a result.
It's either
for me.
Ukrainian, Chinese or Russian, so you're a geopolitical shagger.
I want to make something clear right now. I'm not getting any. I am not getting any.
You're like Ukraine, you're getting fuck all with it.
I'm getting carved up.
Oh. It's interesting though, because Trump's all of a sudden, it's switched in the space of like, since Trump's come in, Zelensky's now he's a dictator.
Well, according to Trump.
Aye.
But you see, what happens is, there's a term, solipsism. Solipsism, you know what that means?
No.
It means really self-interested. If somebody's solipsistic, it means that they see the world as they see it, and it doesn't matter what anybody else says. So I'll give you an example. If I say to you, that jumper you're wearing, it's white. If I decide that's white, then that's me being solipsistic. It's clearly fucking black, but in my world, and as far as I'm concerned, it's fucking white. Right? End of story. You go, no, it's black. I say, fuck you, it's white. It's white. I'm deciding what my world looks like, regardless of how truthful or anything it is. Right? It seems to me the President of the United States, he fucking lives in his own world. First of all, he said, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, he shouldn't have started it, as if he started the war in Ukraine. No, the war in Ukraine started because the Russians invaded it, right? And he also then says now that because they've not had elections, I mean, you're not going to have an election in the middle of a fucking war, right? Going to stop firing missiles as we're trying to fucking canvass, right? Going round the doors, excuse me, mate, he was lying on the ground there. I'll just come in the house. Aye, well, fucking, this isn't a house, it's just a pile of rubble. Now, the point is, who the fuck in their right mind, right, is going to have an election when you're getting the shit bombed at you? And that's what seems to be happening. So Trump's logic, because they've not had an election and the Ukrainian people should decide who leads Ukraine, because they've not been given that option, logically it follows in Trump's eyes that he's a dictator.
So I guess Winston Churchill, he would be a dictator as well, because he delayed elections during the war when we were ironically getting the shit bombed.
Aye. So the same thing, and that's the same logic. If you apply to that, then as far as President Trump sees it.
But the other thing is that I've been sort of hearing and reading and listening to is with Trump, he doesn't take anybody's advice. So he's got all this team in the White House like writing all these 30-page reports.
He's clearly got the skincare consultants who fucking clearly doesn't listen to. He's got hairdressers who he clearly doesn't listen to. He just does his own thing. But he's old. What age is he? 75?
No, he's nearly 78, I think. He's
78. You know what I mean? He puts his own nappy on, he does his own thing, he's old. That's what happens when you're old people. It's like you say to me, "Da, sort yourself out, da, have a wash," and I'll go, "Fuck you." and as one of our fans remarked on one of our videos, "I'm a manky old bam." So, because you're no interested in currying favour with anybody. When you get old, you don't give a toss what anybody thinks about you. So you do your own thing, and that's what Trump does. He's 70 odds, nearly 80, does his own thing, and he basically. And by the way, unlike me, as only I've got my invalidity benefit, he's got £3 billion. In fact, he's got more now because he launched that Trump meme.
Oh, aye.
Crypto coin.
Aye.
And what happened is, all these bams bought it, right? And then they crashed the market. He fucked off with £8 billion for a crypto pump and dump scheme, and all these people that bought it, that's because I fucking bought two of them, right? And all these people have been ripped off.
So going back to Zelensky then, do you think there's no way now he's going to win? Ukraine can't win. In
comedy parlance,
he's dying in his hole.
He's dying in his hole. Absolutely. He's dying in his hole. Whoa, tough crowd.
I don't want to say he's bombing. That would be a bit of inappropriate.
He's bombing. No, that would be inappropriate in the circumstances. People might get offended at that. But if you're offended, fuck off. Right. See, this is the thing that gets me, right? This is another thing that gets me. People are off totally for free speech. If you say to anybody, "Do you believe in free speech?" And most people say, generally, aye. People believe in free speech until they hear something they don't fucking like. Well, fuck you. If you don't like it, look at something else.
See, I believe in free speech to an extent, though. Like,
you're part of the problem, you pampered fanny.
No.
Listen, here's the point I would make. Right, so some people, and I grant you, some people say absolutely vile and horrendous things. Now, in the world, you should challenge it. If somebody says something, you go, "Fuck, that's wrong." They say something that's discriminatory or racist, you go, "Fucking, that's wrong. That's just wrong, and I'll tell you why it's wrong." Right? But if you outlaw it, if you make it an offence, then you merely drive these ideas and these thoughts underground. They're then out of sight. And then what happens is all these people that think the same way are all in wee rooms and talking amongst themselves and saying you can't say it and this, that and the next thing. When it should be challenged, it should be all out in the open, and so that reasonable people can say, "No, that's fucking wrong." What it should be, in my opinion, in my estimation, it should be an evolutionary thing where you say, "Look, see, this is fucking wrong. What you're saying and what you're doing is just wrong." And where your ideas are coming from, it's maybe rooted in fear, or there's trauma in your life, or you're looking at the world through just, pained eyes. We should all be here to lift each other up, not put each other down.
I agree with free speech, but as long as you're willing to take the consequences of what you've said as well. For people to push back. Like an example is that woman recently got arrested outside the abortion clinic. I don't know if you saw that, because there's a radius in Scotland where you can protest
200 yards or something.
See, I agree with that, because they don't know anybody's circumstances that are
no,
going
they
in for
don't.
that, and they're shouting in these lasses' faces.
With that woman who got arrested outside the abortion clinic, that's free speech, but it's also harassment, right? See, that's what's different. You see, free speech is one thing to say you shouldn't have abortions. If somebody believes you shouldn't have abortions, then that's free speech. But what that woman was doing, if she was close to an abortion clinic and haranguing and harassing young lassies going into these places, then that's harassment. Then that's a crime. That's no free speech. So here's the point. I personally believe that as a dude, I've not got an opinion, because I'm not a woman, right? I don't get pregnant, right? So who am I to turn around and say what should a woman should do with her body? It's none of my fucking business. This is the problem. It's one thing to hold a view. It's another to harass and intimidate somebody with their views. If that's what you believe, fine. Fuck off. I don't care. You can believe what you want, but don't bust my balls about it, because I'm not fucking interested. let's take Christians, right? Let's take the religious people. Now, religious people, some hardline Christians believe, as per the book of Revelation, that the world's coming to an end and the New Jerusalem will come down from heaven and we'll all be partying with Jesus. So these fucking nutcases, right, they want a nuclear war to happen. They're praying for Armageddon. Now, I'm a great believer. See, if you believe, I believe in Jesus or fucking Donald Duck or whatever, believe what you want. I don't give a toss. But if you want to blow up the world, well, I live in the world. This fucking affects me. This is where it becomes a problem. It's because you want to go and fucking party with Jesus. I've got to fucking get burnt to a crisp in the process. Fuck you. That's the problem. You can hold a view, fine. And absolutely you can believe anything you want. I don't give a fuck. But when it means I'm fucking getting turned to fucking ash in a second, wait a minute. Hold on a fucking minute here. Well, that's where the problem lies.
Well, that might well be the case.
Well, if I fuck all I can do about it.
No, there is.
It's fuck all I can do about it. But you see how it's one thing to hold an opinion. It's another thing to fucking blow up the whole fucking world with what you believe. It's bullshit.
So we're going to take a quick break, but before...
Yes, on that note...
Well, on that note, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be back with one of our clips from our live shows with Gary Tank Commander Greg McHugh. And how did the voice come about for Gary Tank Commander? How did that? Because that's what it's known for, isn't it?
It came really from I witnessed a thing on a bus in Edinburgh where a very camp man confronted a group of Neds at the back of this bus who genuinely, and he went up to them. They were giving him jip and all the rest of it, but he obviously knew how to handle himself. He just went up to them and he went, "You think they're hard, don't you?" Genuinely. You think they're hard. But you thought no. Right? And I witnessed that and thought, that is the fucking best thing I've ever seen in my life.
I remember. Did you know you used to do that on stage?
Yeah, that was part of your routine. That was part of my routine. Yeah.
Is that a bit? As you said that, I fucking heard that before.
Was
that on that bus as well?
No.
Maybe it was me stood up to the Neds.
But that's where it came from. It was that thing I'd witnessed, and then I thought, well, what about that? Who is that guy? And who is he? And where's he from? Imagine he was in the army. So it was that idea that he was in the army, and that's really where a lot of Gary came from, was from that, yeah.
So welcome back, and remember, if you want to see us live, visit glesga.com, click our bio link, and we're doing a show at the Glasgow Comedy Festival on Thursday the 13th of March. It would be great to see you. But we're going back to everything President Zelenskyy in Ukraine. So do you think we're now in a more serious position in terms of going to war, or do you think less now? Even though Trump's speaking to he's speaking to Putin, China, do you think we're pulling away from war now, or do you think we're getting worse?
I don't know.
Do you think there'll be a war in the next 5 years, a world one?
I think we're already at war. I think it's the nature of how it's fought. I mean, there's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we're attacking each other's cyber infrastructure, trying to break into the computer systems and all that, and the drones now are used, unmanned drones and all that are being used to fight they're called proxy wars. But what it seems to be the case is Rubio went to the Munich Security Conference and he said, behind all these problems in the world, or did he go to Israel? I can't remember where he went. He says, was it with Netanyahu? He says, behind all these, the Hezbollah and Hamas and the mob in Yemen, I don't know what they're called, is Iran. What I do think is, like, it seems to be the case that Trump is setting up. If Trump went to town with Russia or China, it's annihilation. Everybody's down the road. Seriously, right? So he's setting up a situation, I think, where He's saying to Russians, are we pals now, right? Say to the Chinese, are we pals now? I think they're going to fuck Iran. I think America is going to fuck Iran. Look at the peace talks that just happened between Marco Rubio and Sergei Lavrov. It was in Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia. I think there won't be a strategic nuclear conflict, because if that happens, we're all fucking down the road. We're going to have to jump in Musk's starship and fuck off to Mars, right? Because we're all down the road. We're fucked. I think there's... I wouldn't like to be living in Tehran right now. That's the thing. I think that's going to... I think they're going to do Iran in, the Americans. And you heard it here first, people.
You heard it here on the Glesga podcast. Iran is fucked.
Yeah, I think America's going to go to town on Iran.
It's going to be interesting what Ukraine has to give up in order to be almost an independent country again. Because Russia's going to push and push and push and push. And they've won.
Well, yeah. Aye. It looks like what the outcome of the peace talks, the ceasefire talks is going to be, is that, and Trump said this, you're going to lose a wee bit of land. I mean, you say a wee bit of land, you go, that doesn't sound too bad. Are you going to lose a wee bit of land? It's like going, yeah, you're going to lose a wee bit of your leg. You know, it still can't fucking stand up straight. But you're only going to lose your foot and a bit of your ankle. It's only a wee bit of your leg. Right? You're going to only lose a wee bit of your willy. Right? You're going to cut, well, we're going to cut off a half an inch. Well, that's fine. That's my willy now half the size it was. Right? So Russia wants the Donbass region, eastern Ukraine. Right? They don't want Ukraine to be part of NATO, and they want Ukraine to be demilitarised. So it's like me going and chopping my neighbour's horns off so they can't bang in a wall. I don't think Ukraine wants that, because then they're wide open to another invasion. They can't defend themselves. If you were Ukraine, you would go, this is a fucking outrage, this is a nightmare.
Well, that's Scotland, isn't it? That's us. We're relying on the UK government to support us if we get invaded, because although we've got our own regiments, armies, etc., it's no run by Scotland, it's Westminster. Right?
Well, it's the jock regiments in the British Army have been at the fucking front of everything. When Britain has ever went to war, it's all the Scottish regiments that fucking get massive battle honours.
Absolutely, but at the same time, we don't physically have military power, do we?
Well,
we just get mental bastards.
Well, everybody's got mental bastards, but there's nothing like a Scottish mental bastard. There's nothing like a Scotsman on the make. You know, you see a mad Irishman, and that's very entertaining. But a Scottish loon ball, wonderful. The most highly evolved species of the loon ball is the Scottish loon ball. Who you fucking talking to, you wee dick? Brilliant. When a Scotsman kicks off, pubs are trashed. When a Scottish guy has a maddie, hey, brilliant. It's fucking good night Vienna.
Yeah. Just imagine the First Minister of Scotland just standing up if we get invaded, saying we might not have military power.
Fucking Swinney's gone like that. Fucking total commando, nothing under a kilt. Come into my body, you fucking wallopers. A fucking shite herself.
Swinning these balls a bit.
Fucking Swinney with a big claymore. Fucking come ahead, man. Aye. I met him, you know. John Swinney.
John Swinney, have you?
Yes, I met him. But you know, when I meet people like politicians, they fucking look at me very guardedly, very suspiciously. They're very mistrustful of my intentions. They think, this guy is a world-class arse ripper. You know what I mean? Because it was great. I did the St Andrews dinner for the Scottish National Party last year. And I met the First Minister, John Swinney, and because we actually had a mutual friend. I met a guy who I'd known for business previously. That was interesting, because John Swinney came in and went, how's he talking about him? You know, we in Blackford, right?
Yeah.
He was involved in a company I used to be involved in. And Swinney's looking at Blackford, who's well known in the SNP, and looking at me going, that's a fucking comedian. what's she talking to that idiot for? Right? Because they're very distrustful of me.
Aye.
See, because I'm not the sort of person that goes into situations like this and goes, hello, First Minister, hello, let me lick your ring box. Hello, First Minister, there's a load of smoke right up your hole. I don't do that. Right? I'm a comedian. I'm a disruptor. I'm a fucking disruptor, right? That's what I believe comedians are. No courtiers, you know. Oh, you can trust me, First Minister. Right. Fucking ball bags.
It's funny because I was doing something with Val McDermott recently, and we were talking about Nicola Sturgeon, and I said to her, "Oh, I've never met Nicola," and she went, "Oh, Nicola knows about you though." And I was like, "Oh, why is that?" And she's like, "Oh, because she listens to Breaking the News and all that." And I always give her a bit of a hard time because I like to give
That's what Nicola Sturgeon's there for.
Aye.
She's the previous First Minister of Scotland. I mean, I met her a few years ago when she was the Deputy First Minister, I think. I did a burn supper. And again, she very fucking looking at me going, "Oh, fuck, this cunt's a nutter."
Aye.
You know what I mean?
I've never met her. I saw her I went to the Conservative Party conference in Manchester.
You went to the Conservative Party conference? Fucking...
I wasn't there. I wasn't there as a Tory member.
Fucking, what were you were going, hello, Mr. Sunak, let me blow smoke up your hole. Yeah, fucking ball
It was
bag.
actually Theresa.
Yeah, ball
It was
bag.
Theresa May.
You don't need your arsehole bleached. He's going to lick it.
It was a conference that all the letters fell off.
All right,
Do you remember that? Remember she come on, Theresa May come on dancing.
Couldn't dance.
So
Can't dance for toffee.
I was there champion end of life.
Okay, you used to be a fucking lobbyist. That's
a
right.
lobbyist. So I was there when all the letters fell off, and she did that mad dance, and Ruth Davidson got a standing ovation at the time.
Ruth Davidson, whatever happened to her? Whatever happened to her?
Well, she got pregnant, and then she sort of came off it, didn't she?
I don't know.
Aye, she's floating about now.
She's floating about. What, on a fucking magic carpet? What are you talking?
Well, she withdrew from politics, didn't she, when she had her reign? And
fuck knows.
whether she'll be back. So what? President Zelenskyy was a comedian. So what other Scottish politician or ex-politician is now going into comedy? Do you know the answer to that?
Well, Mary Black, innit? We Mary. And she was on the Some Laugh podcast.
Oh, was she?
So Jennings and the boys, the Some Laugh podcast. There's a wee free plug for the boys.
There's a plug, aye.
Right, because we've been on the podcast, getting them serious numbers, but they would, fucking get it up, yeah, right. So I love you, boys. I love you, but I like some of you more than others. Anyway, love it. Right. So Mary Black was on the podcast last week.
Is she funny?
Everybody's funny.
That's not what
Everybody's funny. It depends on.
What's her funniness level between 0 and 10?
Comedy is in the ear of the beholder.
That's a very political answer. Does she do stand-up?
Well, she's not political. Aye, she does stand-up. It's not my thing.
Because Nicola Sturgeon's doing a thing at the Glasgow Comedy Festival as well.
Nicola Sturgeon?
Aye.
Was she stripping or something?
No, she's
Nicola, put him back on.
She's doing the King's Theatre, apparently.
Fuck, you know me, I'd love to fucking sail out the King's Theatre. I can't even sail out the King's Theatre. Fucking nightmare. Well, good for her. I don't know what she's doing. Maybe she's advising on, campervan holidays.
So now for some shout-outs.
Well, here's a wee shout-out. A wee shout-out to Manuel Daniel, who's back in the tools down there in Warwickshire.
Yeah, a shout-out.
Shakespeare country.
A shout-out for my cousin as well, Paul Spacey, who's in Santa Monica. So he listens to us every week.
Paul Spacey?
Aye.
Is he related to Kevin Spacey?
No, I hope no.
Right. What was wrong with that? There was court cases against Kevin Spacey, right? And he was cleared. He was acquitted, both here and in the United States. And what he said was, he likes his hole, but who doesn't he? Right? But he likes his hole, and he says, all I'm ever been guilty of is clumsily approaching people. I mean, I don't know what that looks like. You want your home? So, in a wee shout out to the Scottish ball-bag, he said, "Hello, Glesga da. I met you in Elgin at some hotel and I ripped a piss at you in the front row." Well, don't sit in the front row, you fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Sit up the back. I can't get to you up the back, although I could smell you.
It's Elgin though, there was probably only one row anyway, there's about 2 folk that
No, I remember that gig.
Elgin Theatre was good, Town Hall.
In fact, there's a theatre in Lossiemouth. Do you mean Lossiemouth?
No.
I went to Lossiemouth and I went to the pub. I had the best teeth in Lossiemouth. If you live in Lossiemouth, it's just a joke.
There's a wee guy that serves me in the Starbucks at Edinburgh Airport every time and I don't even know his name to give him a shout out. That's terrible, isn't it?
Well, give him a shout out. The wee guy at Edinburgh Airport.
The wee guy at Edinburgh Airport that always gives me Starbucks. Good lad.
And the wee lassie in McDonald's that always gives me chlamydia. All the best. So this is for Laser Deschamps. That is the worst social security scrounging name I've ever heard. Well, Laser Deschamps. Thanks for listening.
And a shout out to Psycho Vern, who says our podcast is a good start to his day, which I imagine he gets up about 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that.
Yeah.
Who knows if he's a psycho.
Right, so Jamie Voxnut, thank you for your comment. And it is no surprise that he doesn't order rice to be delivered, but fucking makes in the house. What a tightwad. What a fucking tightwad. Well spotted. Jamie DeVox, or whatever your name is.
So that's all for the shout outs this week. Now remember, if you want a live shout out, maybe come and see us at the Glasgow Comedy Festival on Thursday the 13th of March at Bad, that's the Barras. So please come along. It's glesga.com or click the social link for tickets. Now remember, give us 5 stars on your podcast provider. Tell your friends if you loved us, but if you didn't,
fuck off.